Meghan Markle as previously having been a, quote, yacht girl, there have been more revelations going viral from the past. And I want to show you this.
Harry, who's that standing next to the Queen? Is that a servant? That's what Harry wrote in his book Spare. How stupid is this man that he actually believes it? Or is it that he wanted to believe it?
Look, let's be real for a second. We've all seen the headlines, but the vibe in 2026 has shifted. It's no longer about a royal escape, it's about a royal eviction from the public's interest.
The fact that so much of his attention remains on the United Kingdom, the security, the secret meeting with the King's team, the constant court cases.
Prince Harry, the man who famously traded the gray skies of Buckingham Palace for the palm trees and performative empathy of California, is reportedly slipping out of Montecito.
I'm very angry about the ongoing attacks and diminishing of the reputation of the royal family and the monarchy.
And honestly, he looks less like a revolutionary and more like a tourist who just realized the all-inclusive resort charges 5 times the price for room service.
His head is not with his family, his head is not with Meghan, his head is not with Montecito.
And then there's Meghan. While the world is moving on to the next big thing, she's still out there reportedly staging these lifestyle influencer photo ops.
Once a Soho House basic, always a Soho House basic bitch.
It's like she thinks paparazzi subscriptions are just something that comes bundled with a $9 latte. We were sold this grand cinematic fairy tale of freedom. You remember the Oprah interview, the soft lighting, the we just want to be authentic lines?
There's a conversation with you.
With Harry.
About how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
My wife is not visibly black, but that's who she is. The way that they speak about her and the way they treat her is incredibly relatable to everybody else of color.
But somehow they've managed to turn high-stakes royal drama into a 24/7 reality show that even the fans are starting to mute. Harry's rumored retreat from their Montecito fortress isn't some masterclass in strategic privacy. It's starting to look like the royal equivalent of rage-quitting a video game, because you can't get past the first level. He literally ghosted the British monarchy, the oldest firm in the world, only to find out that Hollywood is way more brutal when you aren't holding a royal warrant.
On a bigger level, it is damaging to the royal family. He's out there, this renegade royal, wanting his royal cake and eating. That's my problem with him.
Meanwhile, Meghan's PR sparkle, the thing that made her the most talked about woman on the planet, is dimming. It's dimming faster than her Spotify deal did back in the day. That California sunshine was supposed to be the great healer, right? It was supposed to wash away the trauma of the UK press. But in 2026, it's mostly just highlighting how spectacularly the dream has unraveled. The neighbors are whispering, the big-name producers are passing on their calls, and the cameras, they used to adore them. Now they just catch 2 people realizing that fame without the mystery of the crown is just, well, it's just exposure. And exposure is cold.
Numerous massive crises of confidence for Harry, because he realizes, holy shit, this is what I'm facing.
Why did Harry really leave? Maybe the palace wasn't the cage. Maybe the cage was that $14 million mansion with the 16 bathrooms and the constant need to prove you're living your best life, when every interview has to be a therapy session, and every brand deal feels like an apology for existing. Even a prince starts to crave the kind of silence that Malibu money just can't buy. Just when you thought the Montecito melodrama had finally gone quiet for the winter, Piers Morgan decided to pick up his favorite weapon, a microphone, and fire a few verbal grenades.
They tried to hide the files and they failed.
She was a yacht girl. That's right. It's mentioned in the book.
It's really quite sad.
It makes them newsworthy.
And look, whether you love Piers or hate him, you have to admit, the man knows where the bodies are buried. Morgan didn't just throw shade this time. He brought a total eclipse. He's been waiting years for this moment. When those yacht photos of Meghan started surfacing online recently, Piers looked like a man who just won a personal war against Photoshop and what he calls Hollywood hypocrisy.
Yeah, nobody set out to destroy you. You destroyed yourselves in this country with your ludicrous, hypocritical behavior. Truth be told, what she just did is complete and utter garbage.
These weren't the curated, soft-focus shots from the TIG. These were different. They painted a version of Meghan that's a far cry from the Duchess of Compassion she's been auditioning to play for the last 6 years. It was more champagne, fewer charities. The internet exploded, obviously. It went up faster than one of Meghan's canceled Netflix projects. And through it all, Harry went silent, again, proving that his crisis response strategy is basically just being unavailable for comment.
Meghan she doesn't really care what the British audience thinks of it.
But apparently for me, that doesn't matter.
Piers, meanwhile, was roasting them like it was a national sport, calling the whole thing the ultimate royal rebrand gone wrong. He even coined a new phrase for it, from Buckingham Palace to billionaire pity parties. Suddenly, that empire of curated podcasts and empowerment speeches looked less like a movement and more like a collapsing PR tent. Every smug soundbite about authentic living now echoes with irony. Meghan's image didn't just crack because of the photos, it cracked because people finally saw the marketing department working underneath the mask. And as the storm brewed, one truth became impossible to ignore. When Piers Morgan swings, people don't just watch, they take notes. But those photos, they were just the tip of the iceberg. The circles they came from, that's where things get dark.
In fact, I've seen the tapes. I've got them somewhere. God knows where now. I've got them on
So you've
some
seen
old...
Nudie Rudy Meghan too?
I've seen more than one thing.
If Meghan's pre-royal past had a soundtrack, it wouldn't be an indie folk song about struggle. It would be clinking champagne glasses and the low hum of yacht engines. We're talking about a time before the royal titles, before the victim monologues, and before the Netflix crew was following her every move. Reports are surfacing that Meghan wasn't just hustling in Hollywood. She was reportedly perfecting her networking skills at sea. And we're not talking about the kind of networking that involves a life jacket and a tour guide. These weren't college parties. These were what some insiders are calling floating auditions for the world's most exclusive, most reckless, and most morally flexible club. Meghan loves to tell the story of how she worked hard for her success. The Sizzler salad bar story, the broken car door story. But the 2026 timeline tells a slightly different, juicier story. Between bit parts on Suits and posting inspirational quotes on her blog, she somehow had access to yachts that cost more per weekend than most people's annual rent.
And here we have Andrew, with whom looks like Marcus Anderson. This is in 2001, when Meghan Markle would have allegedly been on third year. Meghan Markle hardly spent any time at Northwestern University. According to people, she got started her yachting days, and she never stopped really. I don't think any of her boyfriends knew about it, but Meghan Markle was known as a hardcore yacht partying person, ready for anything.
How? Connections like that don't just happen to a struggling actress in Toronto. They're curated, they're groomed, and if we're being honest, they're often strategically selected. Fast forward to today, and those same glittering names from those old guest lists, the same circles whispered about in scandals and cover-ups, are resurfacing. It's the ultimate irony. She built a brand on female empowerment, yet every resurfaced photo screams networking with billionaires 101.
The reason why these pictures are so problematic for Meghan Markle is because these pictures place her with Jeffrey Epstein.
And where does Harry fit into this? He went from being an army veteran, a guy who actually saw the world, to being arm candy. He's playing the +1 at parties he wouldn't have survived 5 minutes in without her. The prince who thought he was marrying an actress found himself co-starring in a sequel to Keeping Up with the Scandals. And he doesn't even have a script. The moment those yacht photos started lighting up the timelines, sources say Meghan went into full-blown crisis mode. This wasn't calm, collected Duchess energy. This was the Wi-Fi cutout during a live interview panic.
This has now been going viral this week, Lady C.
These pictures that I'm about to show you have been banned from the internet. They were scrubbed, but now they're back. They're finally out there.
Her team, what's left of it, scrambled like interns on their last unpaid day. They were reportedly trying to scrub images, silence commentators, and control the narrative. But here's the thing about 2026. Trying to silence the internet now is like trying to hide glitter. Once it's out there, it's everywhere. It's in the cracks of the floorboards. It's on every subreddit and every TikTok T channel. Meghan allegedly reached out to her friends in the media, but that's the catch, isn't it? Meghan's friends list is starting to look like the recently removed section on a streaming app. The people who used to sing her praises from the rooftops, they're suddenly pretending they've never heard of her. It's as if being close to the Sussex brand is a virus they've finally recovered from. And Harry, he just sat there, quiet again. It's becoming a pattern. He's looking less like a knight in shining armor and more like a background extra in his own scandal. The PR spin tried to reframe the whole yacht story as targeted harassment, but the more they pushed back, the more guilty it looked to the public. Silence used to look strategic for Meghan. Now it just looks scared.
Did you notice that at the end of every episode, it says, like, the starring, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex?
Yes.
That's how she's billed.
The woman who lectured us all on living our truth suddenly has a truth she doesn't want anyone to discuss. When damage control turns into desperation, the cracks in the fairy tale aren't just visible, they're headline-sized. But it gets worse, because when people followed the money, the story took a turn that even their PR team couldn't spin. Let's talk numbers. Because somewhere between the Suits residuals and the self-help soundbites, the math stopped making sense. Back in her TV days, Meghan wasn't exactly topping the Forbes list. She was a working actress on a basic cable show.
She'd been a Deal or No Deal girl. She was calling herself a model, and she was starring in a show, Suits. She used to charge almost $30,000 per trip, which is why she was making good money. It wasn't on Suits, it was on her yachting trips.
Yet her lifestyle back then was looking less working actress and more Bond villain's daughter. Private jets? designer wardrobes that cost more than a mid-sized sedan, vacations with billionaires who treat privacy like a myth, the self-made narrative starts to look a lot more like a corporate rebrand with really good lighting. If you follow the money trail, it doesn't lead to acting gigs. It leads to the murkiest corners of elite society, the kind of places where everyone knows everyone, but nobody remembers the introductions.
They couldn't keep these pictures hidden because there's just too many people involved. And now they don't care about protecting Meghan Markle anymore.
And then you have Harry. He's acting like a man who is discovering his wife's actual resume for the first time. The guy who used to wear army fatigues and live in a cottage is now trying to figure out how to finance California's most confusing influencer experiment. He left the royal budget behind, the Bank of Dad, and somehow ended up as the CFO of a collapsing brand. The internet calls it manifestation. Realists call it connections with benefits. Either way, the fairy tale credit card is maxed out and the interest rates in 2026 are brutal. But when investigators started connecting those social circles, one name popped up that changed everything. Just when this royal soap opera couldn't get any murkier, in slides the name that no PR team in the history of PR ever wants to see trending next to their client, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Because I'm from the States, you don't grow up with the same understanding of the royal family.
Well, that's just not true.
I didn't know much about him.
Well, that's just not true. I'm not sure exactly what the outcome will be, but definitely not good.
Now let's be clear, nobody is saying Meghan was best friends with anyone currently in a jumpsuit, but the proximity, that's what's killing them. Online sleuths in 2026 are connecting dots faster than Harry runs from his royal duties. Meghan's past social orbit suddenly didn't look like Hollywood hustle. It looked like an RSVP list for the world's most uncomfortable dinner party. Remember Soho House? The elite social hub that Meghan used to name drop like it was Hogwarts for influencers? Well, it turns out that hub overlapped quite a bit with circles that are now permanently tainted by the Epstein-Maxwell fallout. While most people would run a marathon to get away from that association, Meghan's strategy for years was deny, distract, and rebrand. That worked until the receipts started floating around.
This was taken in 2015 when Meghan Markle was flown to Istanbul for the opening of Soho House to be a party girl carpet filler.
Digital ghosts don't stay buried in 2026. Harry, of course, looks lost. It's like someone forgot to give him the Scandal Response 101 manual when he left London. He traded a palace full of ancient secrets for a partner with a past full of question marks. In the courtroom of public opinion, you don't need a guilty verdict, you just need perception. And the perception right now, it's that the Sussex brand is losing, and it's losing badly. When Virginia Giuffre's case hit the headlines again recently, the world held its breath. But for Meghan and Harry, it must have felt like a tidal wave. The internet detectives went to work immediately, zooming into every old party photo and flight manifest like they were analyzing the Zapruder film. Meghan's name wasn't on a charge sheet, sure, but social media doesn't care about legal technicalities. They treated her like Exhibit B. You'd think that two people who call themselves transparency warriors would have something to say. A statement? A We Stand With Survivors post? Nothing. Their silence was deafening. It could have won an Olympic medal for most avoidant behavior.
A man called Kevin Blatt. Now, he is a celebrity tape broker where he describes a 2018 call from a woman claiming to possess a 4-year-old tape of a Meghan who is about to marry a prince.
Her name is Meghan, and she's about to marry a prince in England.
No, what?
Yeah, this story's not true, too. It is true. I believe this is Meghan.
The couple who literally had a Netflix camera crew following them around for every sneeze suddenly went mute. It's poetic in a dark way. The people who demanded their truth be heard by the entire world now can't manage to put together a single sentence. Piers Morgan was practically glowing on live TV, tossing shade like it was confetti. He pointed out what everyone was thinking. Meghan spent years lecturing the world about morality and truth-telling, yet here she was, tangled, even if just by association in the very web she used to warn us about. And Harry? He looked like a man realizing his royal rebellion had a really shitty return policy. He left the monarchy to escape the scandal of his family, only to end up with a front row seat to a new one. Montecito was supposed to be the happily ever after. It was supposed to be the rehab center for royals who are allergic to being told no. But in 2026, it's looking more like witness protection with better landscaping.
And she's living the life she probably wanted all along.
Yes.
A life of unparalleled luxury and riches that she got by marrying her handsome British prince. She's living back in the state that she came from.
The neighbors, the ones who were so starstruck when they first moved in, reportedly cross the street now. They don't want to be in the background of a candid Instagram shot. Those grand dinner parties that were supposed to unite Hollywood royalty and actual royalty, the RSVP lists have more cancellations than a 2020 flight schedule. Harry wanders through that mansion, and you have to wonder if he hears the echoes of regret, or maybe he just hears the sound of unplayed Spotify episodes. Meghan's brand partnerships are starting to sound like rescue missions, each one an attempt to resuscitate a reputation that is flatlining in real time. They sold us a fairy tale about freedom and found themselves stuck in a museum of broken PR promises. The worst part for Meghan, it's not the hate, it's the irrelevance.
It's from her title, The Duchess of Sussex. Meghan Markle, as we've seen numerous times, is pretty much a talentless grifter, to be quite honest, in my opinion.
The tabloids have moved on. The 15 minutes of fame that were supposed to last a lifetime feel like they expired the moment the Netflix algorithm stopped recommending their documentary. Behind those hedges, it's just two people realizing that fame without power is just noise, and privacy without a purpose, that's just silence. Just when you thought the rumor mill had finally run out of steam, the internet decided to revisit the pregnancy debates. It's a digital feeding frenzy of side-by-side screenshots and speculative timelines. And while most celebs deal with normal drama, Meghan attracts theories that read like a Black Mirror script. People are pointing out the inconsistencies, the shape shifts, the vanishing bumps, the weird switch from a home birth to a hospital dash. Meghan's response? More silence.
Did you think it was a parody? Because I thought that this was AI. I thought this cannot be real.
The reason I didn't think it was AI is because it looks like the stomach is fake, where the baby, I swear that's the first thing I thought.
Her favorite tool, she doubled down on curated vulnerability, giving us slow motion interviews and tears that felt like they were timed with a stopwatch. Harry just nods in the background. He's the supportive echo in an emotional infomercial. Their attempts to be relatable have backfired so hard that even the daytime talk show hosts are checking their watches. The irony is that she preached authenticity, while every mystery surrounding her felt tailor-made to fuel suspicion. Whether the theories are true or not doesn't even matter anymore. The perception has turned her narrative into a meme factory. This is the one comparison Harry would probably pay millions to delete from the search engines. But the parallels are getting impossible to ignore. Prince Andrew's legacy is a cautionary tale of scandal, denial, and disgrace. And now, Harry is watching that same cloud drift over his California lawn. Different sins? Maybe, but the stench is the same. Poor judgment and even worse company.
And I love Queen Elizabeth. I suspect that she was trying to protect who we know to be her favorite son.
I think that's why nothing really severe did happen to him when the Queen was still alive.
Andrew hid behind lawyers. Harry hides behind content. Friend dodged subpoenas. The other dodges accountability by calling everything misinformation. They both think the public is too slow to notice the pattern. The only real difference is that Andrew's silence felt like guilt, while Harry's constant talking feels like a man who is terrified of being forgotten. Meghan plays the martyr/mastermind role with Oscar-level precision, while Harry trails behind like a side character in his own life story. People are already calling him Andrew 2.0, just with better lighting and a podcast mic. The man who stood for rebellion now just stands for a rebrand gone wrong. So where does that leave us? The Sussex strategy in 2026 is one word: mute. For two people who built a multi-million-dollar empire on speaking their truth, this sudden radio silence is the loudest thing they've ever done. Every scandal, every unanswered question, every yacht photo is met with a well-filtered picture of a sunset and absolutely zero substance. It's not dignified restraint, it's a brand in panic.
You Kardashians, absolutely. Why not, Father Calvin, just put the bill to Parliament now? Just strip them.
Well,
just strip them of their titles. I'm done.
Harry's silence doesn't look stoic. It looks like he's flinching at his own headlines. Meghan's selective communication has become performance art. The woman who gave Oprah a global sob story can't find her voice when the questions get actually difficult. Their PR team calls it mindfulness. The internet calls it damage control in yoga pants. Every unspoken word is a confession in the public's mind. Silence isn't peace for them, it's the sound of a collapsing narrative. The prince who ran from the crown only to find himself trapped in a spotlight he built himself. This isn't the end of a love story, it's the expiration date on a global illusion. You can't outrun consequences, not even in a $14 million mansion in California. But if you think this was the peak of the scandal, just wait, because a former royal insider, someone who spent years behind the palace lens, is about to reveal what the world has whispered about for decades. This isn't just a new chapter, it's a total rewrite of the Sussex story. You won't believe who was really pulling the strings from the start, and just how deep this deception goes. This is Star Spotlight, where the truth burns brighter than the PR. Subscribe now before the next secret slips through the palace walls. We're just getting started pulling back the curtain.